Hey guys, Ryan Bidoff here, blogging from paradise. Kind of dark. Oh, that's a little better. I didn't know I could go live. I thought I needed a certain number of followers. Let me go live on Instagram as well. All right, let's go live. Checking connection. This is pretty neat, and I just wanted to chat for a little bit about what it feels like to. Oh, I'm live on Instagram too. Oh, cool. Whoa, dark. What it feels like to be a professional blogger. So I'm going live on Instagram. Hi guys, and also going live on YouTube. And I didn't know you could do that on either. We're telling your followers. I knew Instagram. That's cool. So I'm just going to do the simulcast gig for a bit. It's just more enjoyable to me. Light's going down a little bit, but we'll work with it. Maybe if I went to that side. I don't know. I move it back a little bit, rocking chair. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining me. The blogging hashtags. And this will probably be two shorter lives, both for Instagram and YouTube. Love the simulcasting bit. But I just wanted to share a little bit what it feels like to be a professional blogger. It's amazingly fun. It's amazingly freeing. And it's also challenging because you have to face your fears a lot. Wait a second. Hold on a sec. I'm going to shed some light. Hey, thanks so much for joining. The Holly? It's just a very, very challenging gig over the long haul. Now, I've been a professional blogger since 2007, I think, maybe 2008. It's not light looking. Is that a little better? It could be a little better. That could work. And after blogging for some 15,000 hours since 2007, 2008, something like that, it's just been the most phenomenal, fun, freeing, challenging, and sometimes terrifying, scary journey ever. There's nothing in my life that's come remotely close to this gig and working it for a really long time because it brings up fears like scarcity. For example, I have a lot of folks, who follow my blog through different channels. I think I have roughly 50. I don't really trust those services because they jump around so much, but ballpark 60,000 backlinks pointing to Blogging from Paradise. If you look up Ryan Bidoff on Google, it's, 400,000 results. And that's not about me. It's just to share that I have at least a little bit of exposure online after doing this for 15,000 hours. I guess a broken clock is right twice a day. But on YouTube and Instagram, I have very small followings that aren't really super engaged overall. So in my mind, hey, what's up, my friend? In my mind, here's the deal, what it feels like to be a professional blogger. Even though I've had success, and I'm sharing this, guys, to show you that, not to brag about me. You guys know I don't do that. I could care less. But I've been featured on Forbes and Fox News, an Entrepreneur, on Richard Branson's Virgin blog, one of the blogs where I've been a contributor. Also has fellow contributors like Mark Cuban, the Shark Tank guy and Mavs owner. Seth Godin's a contributor. So this is like on a worldly level, high level stuff. Even with all this worldly success and circling the globe as a pro blogger, 5 minutes ago when I thought of going live on YouTube and Instagram, fear came up in my mind. Well, I have no followers there anyway. So why waste your time, Ryan? That's the scarcity fear. That's the ego. And that's exactly what this gig is like. No matter how long I've been doing it and being on these world famous sites and living a really cool life as a professional blogger and loving serving you guys and helping, there's still a fear in my mind. And I see that the Holy Spirit, the universe, whatever you will, Jesus, Holy Spirit, whatever it is, let's just say that the universe is giving me a little somebody's tuning in. Thanks so much, Holly. I appreciate that. On Instagram and also on YouTube. So this is one of those really good lessons of, even if nobody showed up, it just showed me a little ego block of a belief in scarcity. I know I had fun talking about this. I know I would have enjoyed it, but this is the pro blogging journey. 14 years in and 15,000 hours. There's still a little fear. Well, you have really small, not super engaged followings on YouTube and Instagram. So why bother going live? Why do it for nobody? And the universe is like, oh, don't worry, we'll make sure people show up so you don't, just to kind of give you a little dig there. So with all the fun and the freedom and the joy of this journey, which is amazing, it feels really good to call your own shots, to be the shot caller, to be the CEO of your life. I've circled the globe for a decade. We just got back a couple months ago from a 5-month trip to Panama. Blogging made it possible. If I worked a 9-to-5 job, and I know there's more remote jobs now, but overall, especially years ago when I was a security guard, I wouldn't be able to say, hey, I want to go to Panama for 5 months. Could I get a 5? No, you get fired. So being a professional blogger allowed me to experience that, which is amazing. But, hey, Dennis, the real challenge of this gig, I'm trying to wave. Let me wave. The challenge of this gig is with that fun and that freedom, which feels quite amazing and quite inspiring and just so enjoyable, comes all the fears that you have to face in your mind and feel in your mind, which feels really uncomfortable, and release from your being to become more free. And that's what not a lot of pro bloggers talk about. Now, you guys see, I share a lot of eye-popping images from me living in Bali and Fiji and all these amazing places. But I'm one of the pros who talks about, for all those beautiful images and all that fun and freedom, which is amazing, there are your deepest fears to face to do it. And there's a lot of work. So I talk about that a lot. You're not going to see me just in front of infinity pools and saying, here's a pro and buy my course and it will teach you. And I have courses, and I have over 50 blogging ebooks I've written and self-published, 120 bite-sized ebooks on Amazon. Thinking Instagram, I'm looking at Instagram. On Amazon. I smile. And, I've worked at it, but I share how it's so much work, and it's fun, and it's enjoyable, and it's freeing, and it's amazing. It really is. But with that, there's these moments, and not years of torture and thousands of hours of torture, please, but there's these moments of extreme discomfort masked as deep fear. So like, if you're thinking of being a professional blogger, you're going to face many of your deepest fears along the way. It's just how it is for almost all of us, or at least a lot of them. And one of my deepest fears 14 years ago, when I was a new blogger, was doing video. Now, there was no such thing as live broadcasting back in the late 2000s, before 2010. There was no such thing. It was just record a video and then you upload it, okay? So my first video, since I had so many self-conscious fears in my mind, I did 37 takes. The guy speaking live, who could speak live for 8 hours now after developed a skill. This is 6,000 videos. 2,000 to 3,000 live broadcasts. This is 6,000 videos. A lot of people are like, I did a video. I'm like, that's great. Ryan, how do you get like that on video where it's all on the top of your head and you're relaxed and you're going back and forth between the simulcast here, between Instagram and YouTube? And I've done radio interviews for people with 60 simulcast across 60 markets in the US, live in front of, for an audience of tens of thousands of people, not hundreds of that. And it's just crazy practice. But that first time when I did 37 takes, I had so many fears to overcome in my mind. And it felt horrible. And I hated how I looked. I hated how I sounded. I felt like an idiot because I didn't know what I was talking about. And if you're not from Northern New Jersey, I didn't know what I was talking about. But if you're from where I'm from originally, talking, dog and ball and coffee. But this is the professional blogging journey. You have to face a lot of deep fears that are uncomfortable, along with experiencing the fun and the freedom. It's a delicious mix. And it's just so many people that start blogging that want to go pro, they have no idea that it's going to be not only bumpy at times, but there's going to be a lot of deep very uncomfortable fears to embrace, face, embrace, and release. And as soon as those fears arise and those uncomfortable emotions, they're like, oh, I don't want to deal with this. And then they put blogging to the side for 3 months because they can't broadcast live. They can't write and self-publish an ebook. It's too hard. There's too much work. And that's just fear. That's the ego. So they push it aside for 2 weeks or for 2 months or for 3 months. They're like, I'll go back to it when I feel like it. And then when they come back 3 months later, that fear is still in there because they haven't faced it. It's right there. It's right there. They haven't faced it and felt it and released it. So there's still the deep fear 3 months later of broadcasting live and of writing and self-publishing an ebook or monetizing your blog. Oh, that's scary. So they kind of dance around and they don't broadcast live and they're not going to monetize. God, you lose all your readers, right? That fear. It's another very common fear. And then this dance goes back and forth. And 3 years later, you have bloggers who say, well, I've been blogging for 3 years. And I say, no, actually, they're struggling. They get maybe 1 or 2 visitors a day to their blog and they're barely blogging. They're so frustrated. And they tell me I've been blogging for 3 years. And I say, that's not true. You've owned your domain and hosting. You've paid your domain and hosting bills for 3 years. You've only been blogging for like 10 hours or 20, maybe 50. Ouch, but true. So if you don't face the fears in your mind, you'll never go pro because you'll be an amateur, struggling, failing blogger who just quits. And almost everybody quits because they don't face the fears. And so much of that fear it's just deep, heavy stuff that it's like a jumping, like in the morning. This morning I took an ice shower. So it was 22 degrees Fahrenheit here, which is, for folks around the world, 10 degrees below freezing Fahrenheit. And when I took the shower, it was 32, so freezing. So the pipes are ice cold. And don't do this at home, guys. I've been doing this for a long time. It's a shock to the system. I'm blogging popsicles or people having heart attacks out there. But for me now, it's not quite as big a shock. But imagine if you've never done the cold shower and you don't like it being a little cool and you get inside a shower after the temperatures have been super cooled to, by 22 degree temperatures overnight, 22 degree Fahrenheit. It'd be a shock. And this is what it's like when most bloggers face these deep fears and this discomfort early on. And they're like, wow, I didn't think this was what blogging was about, to be a pro. If I wanted to be a pro, I just figured it'd be easy or it'd be a little uncomfortable, but I would just work hard. And I'm sharing with you guys the professional blogging journey, as well as the pro blogging journey, is amazingly fun and freeing and fulfilling. And you'll also face these deep fears. I know I happen to be one of the pros with at least a wee bit of exposure who talks about it and who says this is a lot of hard work. There are many skills. Like you see me presenting with a live broadcast, right? I could write and self-publish a 5,000 word ebook, bite-sized, in a few hours. And I did. I was doing it in 2 to 3 a day, 2 to 3 hours a day, every single day. That took so much practice and a lot of fear diving. But I did it to help you guys and also to conquer my fears. And it was a necessary part of me going pro. I had to face the fears. So at least you guys know when you see the title, and if you watch the replay, if you're watching it live, you check it out later on, you check the blogging hashtag, I make my hashtag more and more. At least you'll know that this gig is amazingly fun and freeing and just so enjoyable. And it also comes with facing a lot of very deep, strong fears that feel uncomfortable, and frustration and embarrassment and shame. It just comes up. You'll feel frustrated, desperate, despondent because nobody's reading your blog. It just happens. Now, of course, even if you start blogging the right way from day one, say you bought my course, The 11 Fundamentals of Successful Blogging, and you listened to it and you took notes and you started doing the right successful thing from day one, it's still going to take a while to get traffic because you have to actually write and practice to gain the confidence and clarity and the posture and the skills to be seen as credible. So people will start following your blog and being like, they know what they're talking about. It takes a lot of practice, even if you're doing it the right way. So during that time of practicing, when nobody appears to be showing up, that's when the fears are going to arise. And they will be there. Don't worry. Every blogger I know at one time or another during their early days or even deep into their careers felt despondent, desperate, enraged, embarrassed, ashamed, just hopeless. And these are the emotions that you will feel almost every case on the professional blogging journey, because they're the exact fears in your mind that you need to clear to be the generous, patient, persistent, skilled blogger who practices their butt off for a long time until you become a clear, confident writer, a network, super connected. You gain the confidence and the posture and the trust and the belief in yourself and in your blogging knowledge to broadcast live for 15 minutes or 45 minutes. It's all up here. It's all up here now, right now, because I spent 15,000 hours having fun largely blogging, but then also facing a lot of fears. Because if I was that same self-conscious blogger, if I turned around 14 years ago, instead of doing those 37 takes and I did 2 or 3 and I'm like, screw this, that would have held me back so much because I wouldn't have faced the fear and frustration and released it and moved forward. I would have buried that in my mind, and then I would have been making all my blogging decisions from fear and frustration and self-consciousness and fear of what people will think. It's like bloggers who bury that fear of monetizing and they don't face it, and 5 years down the road, they haven't made a penny because they're terrified they're going to lose all their readers. And it will only get worse until you monetize, and you can't go pro if you make no money. And you'll say, maybe I'll get around to it. And it's like, I'd love to, but you have to face that fear and put an ad on your blog or write and self-publish your first ebook, and then see what it feels like when you get your first few readers who are like, criticize you for monetizing or criticize your. Most bloggers play small. They never go pro because they don't face these fears. They don't write and self-publish ebook. I didn't. I ducked it for years, at least 2 or 3 years, because I know deep down I was terrified that who the heck would buy my ebooks? People are going to criticize me. And they did. And after they criticize you, you face the fear in your mind. You get a 1-star review. You're like, I'm not afraid of that. I mean, you feel the fear, but once you felt it and released it and you face it, then you're like, it's their projection. We see the world as we see ourselves. I'm the mirror. I'm not the object of the bad review. I'm the mirror reflecting back to these 1-star reviewers how unhappy they are with themselves. Since I'm the mirror and I'm that emotionally intelligent, then there's something in my eye. It doesn't bother me because they're talking about themselves and no big deal. I just move on in a split second. That's what it feels like to be a professional blogger and to be open to feedback too. Not just like, this person left a nasty review, and there could be a seed of truth in that. You could, when you develop your emotional intelligence on this pro blogging journey, actually glean some insights and say, I could maybe make an improvement in this area, and that's cool. Maybe it's wrapped up in a very fearful, grieving, guilty, negative review where somebody really projects. But this is part of what it takes to be a professional blogger. Harry. So guys, I'm going to roll. We're 20 minutes in. I have a little more sharing to do. Really appreciate you guys showing up. And I intend to do, I don't know if I'll do them daily, but I'll do a few more because I'm having fun with them. So keep an eye out, guys. My blog is bloggingfromparadise.com. Ryan Bidoff here, the Blogging from Paradise guy. We got tons of posts and, say, articles, ebooks, a few courses, videos, podcasts, just tips to help you become a successful blogger. And if you have any questions, guys, you could drop them in the comments or find me on Twitter. That's the best place. I'm on there all day long. Yeah, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, my friend. Really appreciate it. I'm going to roll. So until next time, much love, everybody. Thank you so much. Enjoy paradise, guys. Bye-bye, YouTube. Instagram. And ciao, Instagram. See you guys later.